5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
We're back. It's like we've never been away. Wayne, I mean, how have you been keeping?
Well, there's a lot going on, isn't there? And it'd be nice to just get the transfer. I know Marty wants the transfer window shut, doesn't he? He doesn't like it.
Well, who does? I mean, it's bloody stupid that this is going on when we're still in the middle of the season.
Yeah, well, I do fancy
in the middle of the season, 3 games in, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and the fancy football, you can't pick your squad because is Isak going to Liverpool? It's crazy, really, to have transfers after the season starts, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Hi, Sam. How you doing? Welcome along, mate. I just think this just shows that, like, this football people have absolutely no idea. You end the transfer window before the season starts. It's obvious.
It's quite logical, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. And can I just say, as a warning, please do not take this Walker's crisp. We know obesity is bad for you. Do not eat too many crisps. I gave a warning out earlier for a different shirt I had on, so I'm going to give one out for this. Anyway, welcome back. This is LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. It is a very good evening. It's nearly good morning as well. And it's the news show, which normally we would be doing at 6 o'clock. But because we've got a game tomorrow, thank you very much, Sky, all the shows that I was doing yesterday or tomorrow, I've had to do today. So this is the 4th show today. Hiya, Blue Fox, how you doing? Welcome along from Canada. If you're in, like the video, please. Do subscribe if you're new. Click the notification bell. Even if you're watching on catch-up, you can do all those 3 things as well and add your comments below. If you're listening via your favourite podcast platform, thanks for lending me your ears. You won't be doing it just yet because I haven't uploaded any of tonight's shows yet. I haven't had time. It's been a very interesting day. We're going to start with it now. I have to say here, young Wayne, that I haven't actually read this. So I'm going to be, hitting this sort of new, if you like. I know you have read it, but This is a big headline, and this is courtesy of EFL analysis. The truth about Leicester City's talks with the EFL over £61 million issue as transfer embargo mooted. Now, first of all, they cannot put a transfer embargo on for this window. I mean, there's 3 Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 3/4 days. I mean, what would the point be?
Yeah, and because the headline is a bit grabbing because it says over 61 million issues. Thinking 61, where did that figure come from? Because we're kind of guessing about 50, and Marty does say now he's got a little bit of money to play with, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Well, let's read through this then, because like I said, I haven't had it ready yet. Leicester City's summer has been dominated by their transfer activity. or lack of it. A number of high-profile players have departed the King Power Stadium, but Marty Cifuentes has only been able to make one addition, the signing of 38-year-old free agent Asmir Bekovic. King Power have been dealing with financial problems of their own, and with only a few days of the window remaining, it seems as if more outgoings are likely than anyone coming in. The lack of activity has sparked some speculation among supporters about the possibility of the club being under embargo or an EFL imposed business plan. And here, EFL Analysis could exclusively reveal it says exactly what is going on at Leicester City right now. We know there's no transfer embargo. We know there's no registration embargo because that's already been, announced. And if they had got a business plan in place, they would have had to announce it. They'd had to put it on the website, and they have. So we know that none of those apply. So it is very much a clickbait headline, if you like. But it's Leicester, so we talk. We're going to talk about it. First of all, are Leicester City under a business plan? EFL Analysis Chief Finance Expert Adam Williams has been following the Foxes closely throughout the summer due to the ongoing problems with King Power and the lack of recruitment. Williams confirmed that Leicester are under no form of transfer embargo or business plan as it stands. However, didn't you just know that there's going to be a however?
But
yeah, the latter isn't as straightforward, and it's thought that the Championship club may be in talks with the EFL ahead of submitting their financial accounts at an earlier period. Now, as we look over the past few years, this is Leicester City's pre-tax profit or loss over the last 6 seasons. I know it's only the last 3 that affect us for PSR, but when you look at 2 of those last 3, oh my bloody God, 18-19, we made a loss of 20 million, which, can't believe I'm saying this because I'd hate to lose 20 million, but it's not, in the great scheme of things, nothing to worry. It's pocket change, isn't it, to some of these?
A Premier club, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. 19-20, wow, we lost 67 million. We're still in the Premier League at this point, aren't we? 2021.
That's the year we won the cup, isn't it, Chris? Is that?
I think it might have been. Yeah, I think it might have been. In 2020, or was it 2021 we won the cup?
21, 21,
yeah. We then only lost 33 million, and I guess that might have been due to the income from the FA Cup. Then, in 21-22, I'm trying to think. Now, we were still in the Championship, but that was the season we got relegated. We lost £92 million. Then, following relegation in 22-23, we lost 90 million. But in fairness to part of the club, we did spend a lot under Enzo, didn't we, on players?
We did, and we had a lot of players on really big contracts as well.
Yeah.
We couldn't sell anybody either, could we? We couldn't get rid of it now.
No. And yet, despite that, we still went out and bought Winks in on 90 grand a week.
Yeah, and Coda, you look at some of those things and you think, wow.
And then 23-24, which is the last details we've got here, was obviously then still last season to go, we lost 19 million. But I think when you look at that, that's really when we started to stop buying players, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean that doesn't look good, does it?
No, and that's just the after effects of the Brendan Rodgers era, isn't it? Where we tried to get in the Champions League, it didn't happen. Rodgers felt he had to give people certain wages and length of contracts. And it's like anything, when you're careful with money, when you if you manage your business, you're told, we really have got to be careful this year. You cut your cloth accordingly. But if you're given a free rein, and that's what Rodgers kind of was given, like Soyuncu, having Soyuncu and they're not playing him, just really lose it. His head wobbled, didn't he, when he didn't get the money, and the after effects was serious. Tillemans, a lot of players leaving him on a free as well. Yeah. I
mean, Tillemans, I love him for scoring the goal, but I hate the Belgian wanker for the way he ran his contract down. That's just a personal opinion. I must stop.
The thing is, you don't need to. Although you're a professional, you only got limited time. You don't need to play it that way, do you?
No,
you don't have to play it that way.
No, I mean, I think if Marty had been in charge when Brendan was, Tillemans doesn't get a game.
No.
But and the thing is, with Brendan Rodgers, I don't actually hate Brendan Rodgers because I honestly believe that if he had been given the funds for the reset that he was promised, then I think we would still be in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think it was at fine margins. I think he struggled, and the players struggled, and we shouldn't with that quality of players, we shouldn't have gone down, and it's just the head's gone, and from the top, and he just couldn't. He didn't want to save it. He wasn't motivated because we should have not gone down.
No, let me put this to you, Wayne. And it was very tight. It was down to the last game of the season.
And Everton didn't get the points during that season. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gone down.
Yeah, well, exactly. Did they not? I thought they might have got some that season. Because then they
got some the season after.
No, because they got some the season... I can't remember. Anyway,
when we were relegated, Chris, they didn't get it. They got it the next year.
Right. So let me ask you, Wayne. You're working, and your boss comes in, and you go to the boss. You know what? These staff, and they've been here a while. There's no motivation. They're just coming in, and they're just doing the same thing over, and they've been doing it for a few years now. I really need some new staff. And okay, mate, I promise you, I'm just going to get the end of this financial period in April, you're going to get some money and you can bring, extra staff in. Cheers, thanks very much. You go off and you start interviewing people and saying, oh, yeah, right, we can give you the job and, we're going to have this vacancy coming up. And then suddenly you go to the boss and say, right, I've got all these players that are interested. I've been speaking to, sorry, Wayne, can't do that. There's no money. You wouldn't exactly go out and be motivated, would you? You'd be well pissed off.
You would be pissed off, yeah. That is natural. But the one thing I would say, and that is bad on the club, and also was it with Enzo? They did it with Enzo as well.
Yeah, and Rude.
And Rude. But that apart, I would say that you still need to be professional. I mean, Brendan was paid a lot of money. He was on serious money, wasn't he?
Yes, and he won us an FA Cup. He nearly got us into the Champions League twice. Maybe had he been given the money to spend that he was promised, would have ended up in the Champions League. But he said, I mean, after that Forest game in the FA Cup when we were absolutely battered, he said, there's players here that aren't, have been here a while. We need a refresh. Alex Ferguson, every 3 or 4 seasons, he'd do a refresh, get new players in slowly. So he did need that. And I just think I can understand him in a way now, looking back. I can understand, because he was talking to players. Pop just did not come out and be honest with him, or us fans.
Yeah, and that was also we got to the semi-final of the Europa Conference League, didn't we? And lost
Yeah.
against Roma, who went on to win it. So, and you speak to a lot of fans, and I think we played beautiful football under Brendan.
Yeah.
And I think rather than being a hit on, it did develop us from a counter-attacking, hitting them on the break, which is how one did the Great Escape and won the Premier League, to a general brilliant footballing side that could go toe-to-toe with all the top clubs playing good football. And we very nearly made it, flew very close to the sun, and then we got well and truly shafted.
We did, but don't make promises to a manager that you're not going to be able to keep. It
was the perfect storm. It was a perfect storm for everything to fall apart, wasn't it?
It was. But anyway, let's have a look at this in more detail. So the EFL analysis guru, Adam Williamson, finance expert, said if the EFL had placed Leicester City under a formal embargo, they would be obliged to disclose that, so we can say with certainty that this isn't the case. Where things get a little murkier is with the business plan that the EFL can either impose or work on with an individual clubs on an informal basis. It is an issue of semantics, really. And don't forget, last time we were in there with Championship, last time they wanted to impose a business plan on us. The EFL has worked with clubs in the past when they are forecasting a PSR breach, i.e. when a club hasn't yet breached but is on track to do so at the end of the financial year. The EFL revised its rules in April so that clubs who are relegated from the Premier League any previous given season wouldn't slip through the cracks here in terms of jurisdiction, which you can understand because we did, we didn't do anything illegal, but we moved the dates around.
Yeah.
And we say, all right, we moan about the EFL and PSR and all this, but the fact that they're prepared to work with clubs to try and get them not going and not breaching, surely that's a good thing.
Yeah, and they are more hot on things like the UEFA. It's the Premier League that let things slide. And there's a disparity between them both, aren't there? Both have arguments about TV rights, how to share the money, and the EFL seem more on the ball with things like that, and so you can understand it. And obviously, it seems they have chatted with Leicester in the off-season to sort it out and save a lot of banana skins and humble pie and embarrassment.
Yeah. Under this new system, Leicester will be required to submit its audited financial accounts for the previous financial year in December. Then the EFL can take preemptive action from March onwards. That can be in form of a business plan or demanding that clubs make sales once the June transfer windows opens. I mean, again, one of the things that is the problem with the EFL this season is the fact, and I've seen the dates, and I've spoken to Kieran Maguire, the accounts were sat on Susan Whelan's desk. You know I was going to say this, didn't you? They were sat on Susan Whelan's desk past the deadline of when they should have been in. She didn't post them off until after the deadline. She's supposed to be this really clever businesswoman, isn't she?
I think if you apply logic in these sort of circumstances, you say, okay, so she's a businesswoman, brilliant negotiator, really well thought of in the business world of CEOs and such, and so she's not submitting them even though she's had them. So then you start asking a logical question, why wouldn't she?
Yes, exactly. It's questionable. When you look at it, it is questionable. They go on to say the distinction we need to make is between this season's PSR assessment and the referral by the Premier League to an independent commission for an alleged breach in 23-24. The club can't really control the outcome in that case, which is still ongoing. It's down to the legal branch at this point. A points deduction could well be beckoning, but that's for a previous PSR period, not this one. So there wouldn't be a business plan imposed for this season on that basis. What Leicester do have control over is how they position themselves in the current 3 assessment window, which encompasses 23-24, 24-25 and 25-26. The problem with that, as we see there, is I'm just going to zoom in here on mine because I should have gone to Specsavers. 23. Now, you see, that's okay because, let's be honest, 22-23 was the 90 million.
Yeah.
21-22 was the 92 million. So we've got rid of those. They've gone like, bye-bye, thank God we got rid of you. So the first one is the 23-24, which is 19 million. That was in the EFL, wasn't it? That was in the Championship. Yeah. And that's quite good to say because Enzo did buy, 1 or 2 players, didn't he?
Apparently they did cut the wage. They started to work on the wage structure, didn't they?
Yes,
reducing the wage structure.
Yeah, I think there was a few relegation clauses added and what have you. Then you look at last season, and Cooper was given the money to spend. Did he spend a lot?
I think he spent 80 million, but we did make sales. I think the net was it 50 million, I think?
Who did we spend 80 million on? There was Ayew, Bobby Decova-Reid.
El Canoes.
Did
we buy Fatawu as well?
We had to buy him, because he'd gone up. I've forgotten Fatawu, to be honest.
Many, yeah. But it wasn't so much the signings as such, because El Canoes was a good signing and Fatawu was a good signing. It was the wages wasn't it? Like Edward, that was a complete mess. And Skip, whether it, you said you established it isn't 23-25, it's 20, but even at 20, we've just not used him as well.
No. You would look at him and go, Premier League experienced player, wants to come to the club, let's get him in. But where would the recruitment team? And look, everybody's blaming John Rudkin, but he probably didn't pick him. He just negotiated his wage.
Yeah.
And if Cooper said that's who he wants, and the recruitment team have come back with a load of stats that say he's good, then, you do go for them.
Yeah.
But, we're stuck with him, let's be honest with you. Why have Leicester City been so quiet in the transfer window? Well, we've not been quiet on the selling side, and it's good to say that, some of those players we've got and some that we hope to get rid of are very high wage earners. Cody, we got, all right, they weren't on particularly good high wages, but Everson, Vardy was, let's be honest with you, 100 grand plus a week. So he went because obviously he decided to retire from Leicester, not from football. So that's 100 grand a week we're saving. That's 5 million a year, something like that. So we've saved a lot on a lot of the wages. Cody's gone, of course, as well, and indeed high wage earners. Just to sidetrack, Rudkin has a hell of a lot to answer for, though. He's got things wrong, but he's got things right as well. Look, getting 2 million for Cody when Cody wanted to go to Rangers on a free. Getting 3 or 4 million more for McAteer than we were offered in January. He gets things right. And all this that John Rudkin doesn't pick the players. And we've got to say this, and we say it over and over again. He doesn't go, this is the player you should have. That's Martin Glover's department. The manager will say, these are the play areas I need. I quite like this player, but come back to me with some choices. They'll come back and they'll say, yeah, I really, really want this. And then John Rudkin will go and do his best to get it. Now, look, it's Leicester City. Even when we won the Premier League, we're not that kind of a club that's going to attract players like Man United and Liverpool. We haven't got that history, so we have to pay a little bit more to get them in. You can blame Claudio for the bad signings that he made after we won the Premier League.
Those signings, we spent about 100 million, didn't we?
But it wasn't John Rudkin that picked those players. John Rudkin paid the wages, but he had to pay those wages to get the players in because there were ones that Claudio wanted and whoever was doing the transfers at the time had recommended.
And as well, you just won the Premier League and fans would not have been happy.
No, exactly. And, all this that, well, it's Brendan Rodgers, he got us out the Champions League on the last day and what have you. He got us fifth. That's very good. So we've got to be careful where we do the blame. But it's been quiet so far, the transfer window, but they're still trying to get some deals over the line. I think it's just been a very quiet transfer window all round, to be honest with you. Jeho Rego is one of those admired by the Foxes, and any transfers may go down to the wire. Why am I thinking 13 seconds? Despite the priority being to remain on the right side of PSR calculations, according to Williams. I suspect, he says, that the lack of incoming activity is more about resetting their PSR position as opposed to any formal business plan. Will there have been a liaison process with the EFL? Yes, probably. But that's standard, and I suspect that will be more about keeping the authorities on side, given the issues they have had with non-cooperation in the past. The club have also previously briefed that the PSR issue hanging over them has stifled them in the transfer market in terms of attracting players, so that could be a factor too. The way I see it, Leicester have much more breathing space in this current assessment window. You would hope we'd have a lot more breathing space because of all the players we've sold and the wages we've got off the books. But you can see we have caused ourselves out. We're our own downfall. Like you say, we had to go for these players because if we hadn't gone for those players, the fans would have been going, bloody hell, why aren't we buying these players? Why aren't we buying these players? And then we go and buy the players. Why have we bought those players? Those players are rubbish, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure, half the players that the fans would want would end up being rubbish. Some of them might be okay. So you're never going to win, are you, with fans?
No, and the thing is, all the teams in the Premier, look at West Ham. Look at West Ham, look at Man United, what they've been trying to do, and they just can't achieve it. Even Brighton, one of my customers is a Brighton fan. In the last few years, they're always sold, and he said this last season just gone, he says, we're not selling a load of players. We're trying to keep quality players, and we want to try and get in Europe. Yeah. We didn't get in.
No, and they're struggling this season as well.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So it's not that easy. Some fans expect it to just happen. It's very difficult. Everybody's after the top manager. Everybody's after a new director of football. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And interestingly, West Ham, who obviously bought Mads Manson, are rumoured now to be going back after the goalkeeper that they dropped to buy Mads Manson.
Yeah.
Just to quickly look at this, because I've never really. I love this. I love this slide. PSR at a glance. PFR is the evolution of financial fair play, FFP. PSR is said to promote financial stability but limit some clubs' ambitions. It's a thin line, isn't it? It's a thin line, between going mad and spending and spending and spending. And two words, Leeds United.
Yeah.
They went for it under Ridsdale, and it was the manager, David O'Leary.
Yeah.
They went for it. They failed, like we did. I think they got through to the quarters or semis of what was then the European Cup. and they went downhill. The club was sold, I think, for £1. I mean, it was, there for the grace of God, as they say. And having expensive managers doesn't always mean you're going to win a lot. Newcastle, which is owned by a country, but they can't spend the money.
No.
Blackburn Rovers, owned by Jack Walker, and you could argue that they bought the Premier League title when they won it, and it was probably Jack Walker that started off the £1 million spending, because he was going out and just spending it, but it was his club. The Chicken Farmers, they've got money, but look where Blackburn are. They've not been in the Premier League for ages. PSR breaches can lead to points deduction and other sporting sanctions, as well as financial penalties. In the Premier League, clubs are limited to £105 million financial loss over a rolling 3-year period. In the Championship, clubs limited to losing £39 million over a rolling 3-year period. There was a one-time extra £2 million allowance in 24-25 due to COVID, basically. And look, UEFA PSR. And that was where it kind of started, because that year under Brendan, when he didn't get the money for the rebuild, it was UEFA that came to us and said, you're going to have to cut your cloth accordingly, because if you get back into Europe, you're going to be facing sanctions. And this was all after COVID. And look, COVID absolutely fucked everybody up, didn't it? Us probably more because of what our owners do. But they still should have told Brendan that was the position. And we'd been in Europe, in the Europa Cup for 2 seasons running, and the owners quite rightly thought, well, we're going to be fighting for it again next season. We better, do this and get hold of it. But, Brendan Rodgers had seen that some players weren't up for it, and I think, as I say, was let down. Academy, stadium, training ground, charity, community investment and spending on women's teams are exempt from PSR. Interestingly, for a story that we're going to come up with now. Despite all of this, and this is the thing that gets me with the EFL and the Premier League, who the fucking hell checked on Transdiri at Sheffield Wednesday? Who looked at that and went, he'll be a good owner?
Yeah, that is ridiculous. That is just if that isn't saying the system isn't fit for purpose, what is? Because what is the point? So you've got a club that's in the Championship and he's not paying wages for 2 months.
Yeah.
That is insolvency.
Yeah. You wouldn't get away with that in any other business. I mean, years ago, the Players' Union would have been coming in and paying the wages. I don't know where they've disappeared to. But I'm sorry, you've got all this PSR shit, and I can see why you're doing it, because we don't want clubs to go out of business, but we've still got clubs going out of business, and we've still got bloody owners, the likes of this guy, the likes of the guy that was at Portsmouth, and it's not the ones that had just bought the club, it's, sometimes it's who they sell it on to, and they're selling these clubs for £1, and they take the debts on and what have you. But who's checking these people out?
Exactly, and I've just Googled, because Villa sold Jacob Ramsey, didn't they, to Newcastle for 39 million, because he's a academy player. They got pure profit, so that's why Emery made a statement, and both Villa fans and Newcastle fans demonstrated before the match about PSR in the first match of the season, because they had to sell their homegrown talent, even though they got in the Champions League. They still had to sell Jacob Ramsey to meet PSR.
Yeah, I know Villa were very close to breaching, weren't they?
Yeah, and Newcastle, they sold 2 players that they thought they were going to have to sell after the takeover, either Isaac or Anthony Gordon, 50 million, to meet PSR. It's ludicrous.
It is. And, you don't want clubs to, and, you can say, we're not going to go bust. Top is a pretty rich man. the club's in his name and his family's name, not King Power, so it's his personal wealth, which seems to be okay. So the trouble that King Power was in didn't really affect us. But you can't let these owners, and I can understand that you can't let them just go and spend, because you don't know. I mean, look at if you've got somebody like what was he called? The guy that used to own the Mirror.
I can't remember because I just need to turn the television off. It's just been on pause.
Not a problem, mate. Not a problem. The gentleman he was Crook that used to own the Mirror.
The other thing as well, what about Chelsea playing in the doing what they're doing? Yeah.
Robert Maxwell.
That's the one, yeah.
He owned Oxford United at one point, Thank you, Daedalus. Robert Maxwell. We almost did that at the same time. He owned the Daily Mirror, second biggest selling newspaper in the UK. He owned Oxford United. You're thinking like, well, this is a match made in heaven. All right, the checks weren't the same then, but of course, it probably wouldn't have brought up the fiddling he was doing with the pension.
Yeah.
And obviously, he ended up going off for a swim, in the sea and was never seen again. Although his daughter, obviously, is very much in the news at the moment. Not mentioning her name, moving on. So you do have to be careful with the owners, and you can't just let them spend, because you've got to say, okay, with Newcastle, where the money's coming from. But, what if there's a coup or what, you don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, just to round this off, Leicester have only made one permanent signing this summer, and that is Asmir Berkovic on a free. The wage bill will have come down pretty significantly with the players who have left the club, and they generated somewhere around 45 million in fees. The 90 million that Leicester lost in 22-23 is now dropped out of their 3-year PSR calculation, which is a positive. 19 million they lost in 23-24 will probably swing back to a positive result so far as PSR is concerned when allowable costs are favoured in. Woo! 25-26, their 3-year loss limit is about 61 million, so that's where the 61 million comes in. So their compliance this season hinges on their financial result in 24-25. Dewsbury Hall was a pure profit sale, which will help, but the signings they made will have increased amortization by somewhere around 20 million. They were running at an operating loss of about 80 million the previous season, and even with Premier League TV money, the negative is going to remain. It's that, I've got to say, fair play to EFL. That is a bloody good article.
Brilliant.
I have learnt more, and I hadn't read this before because, like I say, I did the show with you from 5. I then did I was trying to help Brad do a few things. I needed to speak to him at 7 with the preview, especially as their guest dropped out and they were trying to find another guest, so I was involved with that. Then I did the prediction league at half-8. I haven't had a chance to read it at all before actually putting this up. I have learned more reading that than I knew at all about what was going on.
Yeah, because normally you read something like that and you need 2, 3 or 4 passes to actually really ingest it and understand most of it or some of it.
Yes.
It's clear, isn't it?
I absolutely think it is a brilliant article. Well done to the guy that's written this, who is Callum Boyle. He wrote that today. It was only released at 3 o'clock. And well done, obviously, to whoever the gentleman was, Adam Williams, who was their financial expert. Makes a lot more sense now. Can a football club be run at a profit ever?
Under Mike Ashley, probably.
That's a fair point. Actually, I'm going to say that is a very good point, Wayne. I know the Newcastle fans hated him, and I'm not going to say, look, he's the best thing since sliced bread at all or anything like that. But when he sold that club, he's made them the richest club in the world. Whether they can spend that money or not, they are still the richest club in the world. And when they were sold, the owners that came in had no worries at all about FFP or PSR because he'd left them in such a good situation. Now, you can question his appointments of managers. We know all about that, don't we? I mean, I don't know whether Alan Pardew is actually still employed by Newcastle, to be honest with you. It was ridiculous. But these managers come in, have one good season, and then they disappear and don't do as well as in Claudio. But, yeah, I just think, yes, he did do it. But if you go back, even when you go back to like the 70s and the pre-Premier League days, and when you look at clubs like, if you've ever watched The Damn United, and I know it's not a documentary, but, old Uncle Sam there, the owner of Derby, that club was probably run not at a loss. But these days, there's so much money in the game, and I honestly think fans are very demanding.
They are demanding, and the thing is, it's like back in the day, wages were really low. It's like the Edward situation. Get somebody in on loan, and all of a sudden you're spending $4.5 million for zero return. Zero.
That was a weird signing, though, wasn't it?
You could overread, Bertrand. You can waste a lot of money really very quickly because the stakes are so much higher now because the swing from, like our swing, from almost getting in the Champions League and almost winning the Europa Conference to like literally free fall. And the consequences, if you get the free fall, it takes you a good few years to recover, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It does. Right. Let me. I think we've talked. My brain's going out the window now. So I want to talk about. Quickly go through the other news items. I started off this morning, thinking, it's a quiet news day, and then sort of post lunch, it just went absolutely chaotic. Did you know we've sacked a manager?
I did. And the timing is rather interesting.
It is. Leicester City manager and assistant manager sacked. The interesting thing that I noticed on the comments on in the Facebook group, which is LTID TV, by the way, is everybody was sort of saying, what is this club up to? What are we doing? A week before the season kicks off, and we've sacked the manager.
And also, that last season was the first season where we literally weren't biting our nails.
Yeah.
Where the relegation could go to the final game of the season, game or two of the season. We were 10 points clear of the relegation zone, something like that. Yeah,
I don't look. We don't. Obviously, something has happened. Interestingly, after I posted this, I got a message from Dan, the Burnley fan.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, he said, "Why are you after our women's manager, Matt Beard? You couldn't be a woman with that name. Can you imagine marrying him and you're Mrs. Beard? I mean, this is I'm going to read this. This is on the She Kicks Women's Football magazine. Matt Beard denied permission to speak to another club before shock resignation from Burnley. Now, I think he's only been there 68 days, something like that. Matt Beard was reportedly denied permission to speak to Leicester City before he decided to leave his role as manager of Women's National League side Burnley. The 47-year-old was only appointed manager of third-tier Burnley on June the 20th this summer. Bloody hell. They had made a positive start to the season, taking 4 points from their opening 2 games of the campaign. However, Burnley announced on Wednesday that Beard had made the shock decision to resign after just 68 days in the position. I'm sorry, Dan, if you watch this back. I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you. Burnley said they were disappointed with Beard's decision, confirming that he left to pursue other appointments. Beard's appointment as Burnley was seen as an ambitious one in a season that the women's team had turned professional. The manager said the club's decision to turn professional was a major factor behind taking the job after being out of work since February following his sacking by Liverpool. The Daily Mail reported that Matt Beard was denied permission by Burnley to speak to Leicester City about their manager vacancy. When the request was declined, Beard tendered his resignation with the announcement made on Wednesday morning. Amandine McQuell was still the Leicester manager, Leicester City boss at the time, of which Beard's resignation was announced. Interesting. That's doing the shit on this lady, isn't it?
It sounds like there's been a bust up or something, doesn't it, Chris? Because, I mean, that is the best ever finish that a Leicester team had. Finished 10th. Says 20 points from 22 games, 10 points clear of relegated Palace. That's the first time that's happened. So
I think it's the first time that we weren't looking over our shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, last season it was a miracle we didn't go down, wasn't it, really?
Yeah. I mean, we finished 11th, and this season last season, we finished 10th. Leicester could still face a weight on their hands to appoint Beard if he's the manager they want to replace Miguel. Burnley in the statement confirmed that Beard had been placed on gardening leave with immediate effect. The Foxes are one of the favourites to be relegated this season. We are every season, let's be honest with you. Even if they finish bottom of the league, they will face the side that finishes third in the second tier in a playoff. Oh, wow, so that's new.
What's that, Chris?
So, I think they're expanding the WSL. So I think there's 2 teams get promoted, and whoever finishes bottom, so that would take it up to 14. Yeah, because there's 12, 13, 14. Then whoever finishes bottom will play the 3rd team in the women's championship in a playoff to see who stays up or goes up or whatever. So Leicester could finish bottom and still be in the Women's Premier League next season.
Yeah, it's like rugby when they adopted that playoff system. That was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, I get it, and it's good that they are expanding the WSL because you don't want to with the success of the Women's England team, you don't want to just sit back on that, do you? You want to.
Also the women's game is growing. Some family go down to the King Power, they love it. It's just great atmosphere.
I have to say that if I lived in Leicester, I would be buying a season ticket for the women.
Yeah.
I'd still go if I could go and see the men, I would do. But I enjoy the women's internationals more than the men's. So interesting there. I do feel they've done the shit on this woman a little bit, but
you don't know whether she's coming drunk and said something. You don't know. It's just something's happened.
Can I just say, allegedly. Thank you. She may have some very litigious friends, So there we go then. So that's what's happening with that young lady. That is what's happening because I forgot to load a thing up. Leicester, this is it, El Canoes now. Leicester, we spoke about earlier about his head not being in the right place. Leicester trying to influence El Canoes' choice amid Saudi Arabia interest. Now, nobody bought him when he had an alleged relegation, clause and amount to go. Once that went out the window, again allegedly, we said they what 35 million now, and now they're saying apparently we want 40 million. So you've got Crystal Palace are going, we ain't paying that for him. You know, which my attitude would be, well, come back in a couple of years when he's worth 60, 70. You know, you don't like to take a chance on these youngsters. You let those other teams take a chance. You know, Harry Maguire, Wesley Fofana. But even Tottenham are kind of, because they were linked with him as well.
I mean, that headline. So Leicester trying to influence El Canu's choice. So are they trying to influence him to go?
Well, let me read you this, young Wayne. Eze has finalised his move to his boyhood club, Arsenal. I didn't know that. Well, I knew he'd completed his move. I didn't know it was his boyhood club. And that had left a huge hole in Oliver Glasner's side. With only a few days left in the summer window, Palace would make sure that they replace the England international. They've been planning for a while to get in an attacking midfielder, and Leicester's 21-year-old El Canus has been their top choice. There are other options on the list, but they have been pushing for the Leicester star who wants the move. Now, I've never seen anything about him, kicking off or being anything like that, but everything I read, it always says he wants a move, he wants to go. According to Belgian journalist Sacha Cavalieri, who is quite a good, trustworthy source, the Championship side have been continuing to reject the offers which are of El Canus's interest. Ooh. You see, they're not the right mindset, as Marty said, probably in the man had words. Now then, Saudi Arabian clubs have shown interest in the highly rated Morocco star, and the Foxes feel they can secure the highest amount of money if they sell him to a Pro League side. It is suggested that Leicester are seeking to influence his choice of where to go, which does not appear to have pleased El Canus. Palace, though, could feel less need for El Canus as they're going for Villarreal's Yeremy Pino, who can play as a number 10. They have a verbal agreement with Villarreal for him and are closing in. It remains to be seen if Crystal Palace will make an offer to convince the Foxes to sell El Canus, who wants to join the Eagles. Well. We heard March's side of it early, didn't we? If his head's not in the right place.
Yeah.
But, look, my worry is if he doesn't go, we're stuck with a player till at least January that doesn't want to be here.
That's true, but I mean, Saudi Arabia, imagine like a Saudi Arabian club and they go, sorry, could you just clarify that figure there that you've wrote down? Is that 35? Oh, no, that's not a 3, that's a 4. It's 45 million.
Yeah.
Because Saudi Arabia, the price goes up, doesn't it?
Well, this is it, and this is what Leicester is saying. Now, I have to say, as a 21-year-old who's only going to get better, and did we say, I might have said this to you on the show earlier when we did that show, the press conference. A 21-year-old moving to Saudi Arabia, it's a career-ending move. That you go to Saudi Arabia at the end of your career, like years ago. When America first did their attempt at soccer, they got Pele, Beckenbauer, they got all of them, but they're at the end of their career.
Rodney Marsh.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Alan Birchinall. No disrespect to the Birch, and happy 80th birthday for earlier in the week. But Ronaldo, for example, he would not be breaking the record that he's breaking now if he was still in a top-flight European country. And that's why I don't have any respect for these records that he is breaking, because he should be able to there. So, but it's giving them, look, football's a short career, isn't it? And it's extending that. Even like they're saying, Jamie Vardy possibly going to a club in America, so, but a 21-year-old going to Saudi, I mean, Damari Gray went over, I know he's mid-20s, but he was only over there one season and came back.
Yeah, it's a long way, very different lifestyle.
Although he's Moroccan, so remember he's maybe used to it more.
Yeah, but I mean, El Canouse is still unproven. That's the thing. He is still unproven. He didn't have a brilliant season last season.
No.
He could argue, well, it's because I was in a shit team, but he didn't have a very good season. And the bottom line is Leicester pay his wages and he's contracted to Leicester City, isn't it?
He is. I'll be back in a second. He is, but if he's not happy, we know what happens when you've got a player on your books that isn't happy.
Yeah, but I do like Marty. I think Marty's a bit more like Enzo. How Enzo is quite straightforward with his players. He's quite, like when he had the clear out at Chelsea, he'll tell people that they're in his plans or not. And I think Marty's had the chats, and he seems intuitive and he cares about his players and fans. But I do think if he needs to be, it can be straightforward, straight talking.
Yeah. Yes.
And he said straight about El Canouse, didn't he? He didn't wax lyrical. He didn't explain too much. He says, look, we just sometimes you need to have the right headspace. So it wasn't right, and that's okay. That's okay. We've got options, and he just dealt with it, sorted it, and just said move on.
Taylor said there, a club met Leicester's price with an obligation to buy. I mean, we're not going to loan him out. We don't, if he's going to go, we're going to sell him. So he's going to have to buy. But then we changed our minds and increased the price. He's been priced out of move. We're totally entitled to do that. He's got a few years
once
left.
His obligation to buy is passed, then you can put a price on whatever you want.
Yeah. He's on a long term. His get out clauses, went by the by, as you say. We can do what we want, Yeah. And he's going to have to suck it and see. But the thing is, what we don't want is an unhappy player. But anyway, let's move on because it's a late show, this one. All I'll say is, guess who we're talking about now?
Hamza
Chowdhury. If Foul does go, I am going to dye this black. And I'm going to pretend to be Hamza Chowdhury.
It's not Cambiasso, is it, Chris?
It's not Cambiasso. And I can remember my mate, and I came up, and he was trying to make a bit of money selling these bold wigs. If I only knew what I knew now, I could have saved myself a bit of money. But I bought one off him. They were absolutely rubbish. Sorry, mate. He knows that I put it on. You could see my hair. So it just didn't look. It didn't look good. But need to put my curlers in. So the next story is now this is a surprise because Besiktas were supposed to be flying over with a contract in a suitcase to have a word and offer him a case, but now Wolfsburg have entered the fray. About-phase transfer twist emerges as Bundesliga clubs begin talks with Leicester City outcasts. I'm going to have to take this off because it bloody makes me head. One size fits all. No, it bloody doesn't. Let's have a look to see where we just get up with this story. The Leicester City were handed a boost on the future of Bilal El Canouse as his deal away from the club fell through. It looks more like he's to be remain at the club. The problem is, if he goes now, we've got time to bring anybody in. The club have been linked with Jonas Omlin, who's the goalkeeper we're talking about, but it's been reported by Florian Pietenberg. Yeah, I don't know either, no. That WFL Wolfsburg are exploring a deal to sign Wout Faes. The Belgium international has been rumoured over the past couple of weeks in the summer transfer window to be set for an exit from the club. It is understood that there is no agreement as of yet over a deal for the 27-year-old to leave. However, talks between the former Premier League champions and the German giants are ongoing, it says. Should a deal go ahead, the Foxes may believe the replacement coming through the door at the club is required to replace the international pedigree they would be losing with Wolfsburg. This guy obviously has never watched him play. International pedigree. Like fuck. And then, of course, it ends. The next story actually says Brendan Rodgers was a huge fan of Boutface. Well, that just says it all, really, doesn't it? You know. Look, he's dead for a few years. He's going. He wants to go. He only stayed with us probably because we were in the Premier League. His contract, I think, expires next summer, doesn't it?
June 30th, 27.
Oh, so we've got 2 years of him.
Yeah,
still.
he said he signed a 5-year deal in September 22.
Right. Okay, so he's got 2 years left on his deal. Do you know what his wages are there? That's all right. I didn't know whether you got that. I can actually get it up here.
It's 15 million. It said we paid for him.
Let's have a look here.
50 grand a week. It says here. Yeah, 50 grand a week.
50 grand a week. Yeah, it is 50 grand a week. Vestergaard's not going to go, so this guy, and I reckon, actually, and I don't think he started the season badly. I think, he's done very well. We know he's scored a goal, but he's been playing well. But obviously, his head's not in the right place because he's only coming on as a sub. And when you come on and you booed before you even touch the ball, to be honest with you, I don't blame him for saying, fuck off, I want out of this club.
You wouldn't stop, would you, Chris? You would.
No. If you walked into work one morning and everybody looked at you and went, boo, but you'd say, fuck off, I'm leaving, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so I bought the milk for making the season coffees.
Yeah, exactly. But he probably, in something like the Turkish league or the German league, or one of those European leagues, I think he'd do very well. He'd
do well, and I think he's a brilliant player. He's just a bit hot-headed in his positioning. He goes up the pitch sometimes, which, like some fans have said, play him in midfield or as long as you got cover. And that's what Marty said. He drives the ball forward. In that game where he got booed, he did drive the ball forward and really made a difference. As you said, Chris, he's done well. So he's a great player. And if we can get money for him to either reinvest it or help with PSR, it's getting rid of all the stale people, and you don't want bad attitudes in the club, and Marty doesn't. So it does make sense for him to go.
Yes, it does. But if you don't want bad people at the show, what club? Why are we trying to hold on to Bilal Kounos when he's obviously not going to be happy?
I don't know whether particularly are. If he's shown a certain attitude, I would imagine Marty would go, you're best to move on.
Shall we talk about players that have been linked to the club very quickly?
Oh, go on, Chris.
Let's get a little bit excited. Because you did get excited earlier on. And can I just say, by the way, I did say in the last programme, well done to Grimsby. But I want to just say well done to Club Bruges, who put 6 past Rangers. Again, beating Club Bruges is not for everybody, Rangers.
No, and Chef Wednesday as well, Chris.
Yes, indeed. Right, Josh Murphy from Portsmouth. This one popped up, and somebody messaged me just as I was closing one of my shows. He stuck it in the comments. We are apparently Leicester City work on signing Portsmouth star Josh Murphy. He's a striker. Sources have told Football Insider that Murphy has been identified as the Foxes' number 1 target for the rest of the summer window, as Martin Cifuentes seeks a championship-proven forward to boost his ranks. He's only been in the Championship 1 season. It says their contact has been made over a deal as Leicester tried to reach an agreement before Monday's cut-off. The problem we've got is everybody's going to hold him out for more money, knowing we're desperate. He's made, for Portsmouth, he's made 44 starts, or he's made 44 appearances, 7 goals, not brilliant, is it?
No, it's not. But I thought he was brilliant at Newcastle. Brilliant at Newcastle.
Was he at Newcastle?
Josh Murphy, is it? Yeah, I'm sure. Is it? I'm sure Josh Murphy was at Newcastle.
I'm only saying that because I don't know. I didn't look that far back at him. Josh Murphy, English footballer. Leicester launched late bid.
No, you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Has he been at Newcastle?
No, he's not.
He's not, right. But honestly, he could be another Josh Murphy. So he gets one goal in over 6 games. Is that a proven championship striker to you?
No, and he's 30 years old, Chris.
Well,
So his age.
One exactly, Wayne. You have made. I was going to say that 30 years old. It doesn't fit into this young thing, young player that we hear that Marty wants and what have you. He's up there with Ayew and Bobby DeCover-Reid, isn't he?
He is, and he's not. Some fans have said no, Josh Brownhill. We don't going to go back down the old route, but he's a proven goal scorer.
Yes.
Last season he's brilliant. Even the season before, he had a really good season with plenty of assists and goals, and he's proven in the Championship. And his hit rate is fantastic.
I would sooner have Josh Brownhill over this guy and stick him up. I know he's attacking midfielder, but stick him up front.
I think if we had signed Josh Brownhill and got rid of Skip and Samare, he would be over the season far more productive than both those put together.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I just realised, and nobody has told me this at all, but I can't spell Birmingham. Apparently we're playing Bittingham tomorrow night.
Yeah.
You could have told me.
That's right, it's Jacob Murphy who played for me.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, I'll let you off that one. But he did get 15 assists. And he is brother of Newcastle star Jacob. That's the next one.
That's why I looked at him, because I thought he looks a spit of him. Yeah, so the brothers.
Yeah. Joined Portsmouth from Oxford United and was keen helping the South Coast side stay in the Championship following promotion from League One. The former England youth international, but he's now 30, registered 7 goals and 14 assists, so it said 15 before, in 42 Championship outings, with his 21 direct goal involvements, leaving him 7 clear of his nearest rival, Colby Bishop. I don't think that's he's not for me. Now he's not for me. But shall I tell you somebody who might be?
Go on, Chris.
William Boving.
Ooh.
From Stern Graz. Now, Leicester City and Coventry City eye William Boving. Now, again, if it's Coventry or us, and I'm going to be careful what I say here, because I did say this about Kone. If it's QPR or Leicester, and he went to QPR. So Leicester and Coventry both eye him, but you would think when you look at recent history, you would look at Leicester and go, Premier League winners, FA Cup winners, Europe. So, but he's 22 years old, right? So this is better. This is what we want. 22-year-old who has played 18 times for his country's under-21s, moved to Sturm Graz of Austria in 2022 from Copenhagen. Wonderful, wonderful Copenhagen. Having played 44 matches for them in all competitions prior to his exit. Boving has developed into a regular fixture in Sturm Graz's attack over the last 3 years, although it took him until the 24-25 campaign to start finding the back of the net, having only scored 3 goals in 45 Austrian Bundesliga matches in his first 2 seasons. Last season, though, he bagged 11 times in 30 domestic outings, so that's 1 in 3. Suddenly that's half of the other guy. A further 8 assists to be one of Sturm Graz's leading lights in their title-winning campaign, for their second in succession. Now, can you remember the last player we bought from an Austrian side?
Dakar.
He was indeed, and I hope that's who I'm thinking of, because I'm just checking my own my own quote here. But it was. We bought him from Nick. Hey, Nicky, how you doing? Welcome along. I've not seen you before. Nice of you to pop in. Thank you very much. Red Bull Salzburg. He got 54 in 82. Now that's more than 1 in 2. That's less.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's less than 1 in 2. That's in like 1 in 1.5. In fact, I shall tell you because I've got Chris's calculator here.
Chris's calculator's coming out.
Yes, it is. It is indeed 82 divided by 54. It's exactly 1.5. A goal every 1.5 games. That kind of makes me go, oh, if Patson Daka had that record and this guy scores 1 in 3, then suddenly thinking, no.
Yeah.
No. What do you think?
It depends on the price, doesn't it, Chris, really?
Okay, have a look what it says his price might be. It doesn't. That's really helpful, isn't it?
4 mil or something.
It doesn't quote a price. So I tell you what we'll do. We'll go on Transfer Market, shall we? And we'll see what they actually value him at. I'll try clicking. Oh, here we go. It worked. It was a bit slow. Right. William Boving, Sturmgrat, centre forward. He's won Danish Championship, Danish champion, Austrian champion twice, and Austrian Cup winner. He's centre forward. He plays, like I say, under 21. In fact, he's played for Denmark under 16, under 17, under 18, under 19, under 20, under 21. He's got about his right-footed attack. He can also play left midfield and attacking midfield. So we do like players that can move about. His current market value is 8 million, which is what? 6.5? That's euros, sorry. So 6.5, done it 6.75 million. Yeah. So not out the range. Now, who do you know when they do a who do you prefer?
Go on, who's in there?
I'm just going to oh, it won't let me do it. I was going to try and compare him to Daka. I might do that. But it won't let me do it, unfortunately. Would that put you off?
Not really. I mean, to be honest, Chris, I mean, most strikers in the Championship will be able to finish better than Dakar, maybe even League One, to be honest. His finishing is poor, his spatial awareness in the box is poor, and his intelligence is poor, and his control is poor, so anybody will be better than Dakar, to be honest. And if they're young and athletic, then they can do the pressing. To say that he presses well, he's just not good enough for an striker. So I think most of these players we've talked about over the last week will be better than Dakar.
But you're saying that this player will be better than Dakar. In the Austrian league, he wasn't as good as Dakar.
Yeah, I'd say you want somebody from the Bundesliga, really, or the Liga. Really, ideally, I'd say.
I'm just trying to find
Australian League. It's not the, as you say. I don't think the quality is there, is it, in depth?
No. I'm just seeing very, very quickly because I'm conscious of the time. There is a site where you can. Oh, that transfer market might let me do it. Right, so we'll put Pats and Daka in, shall we? And if I could learn to spell Patson, oh, bloody hell.
It's a shame he doesn't score so many goals because he can do a wonderful backflip, can't he?
Yes, he can. Right. And we do know that Cifuentes does like a good dance, doesn't he?
He does.
Right, Willingham Bowden. Right.
Oh, his goal tally, Chris. Oh, through the seasons, Daka's, when you look at his stats, my goodness me.
Right, here we go. So, highest market value, which is probably when we paid for him, for Daka was 9 million. So it was 22 million. His current market value, this is in euros, by the way, is £9 million. William Boving is £8 million. Daka's 26. Boving is 22. We're not going to lose him to the African nations because he was born in Copenhagen. Both right-footed. His contract expires next June.
Right.
Both centre forward. Daka can only play as centre forward, and I've got to say, even that's questionable. Where William Boving can play left midfield, as we know, attacking midfield as well. Daka's won a hell of a lot of things. What's Daka won? Top goal scorer twice, and this was being Austria. Right.
Yeah, Salzburg. His stats in Salzburg in the Austrian Bundesliga are amazing.
Yes, they were. I'm not convinced by this guy. If it's him or who was the gentleman before, if it was him or Josh Murphy, I'd sooner probably have this guy. But I'm just looking, and like you say, when you look how good Patson Daka was and how shit he is now, I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting.
It's crazy that we've had Daka for 3 years. Or 4 years, is he almost? And he's hardly scored any goals. It's just he's an attacker. And midfielders getting more goals than him.
Yeah. I mean, when you think, right, when you look at it, you expect your goalkeeper to make saves, which is why we didn't like Danny Ward. Sorry to mention his name. But you then also expect your striker to score goals. And that's why we're not probably keen on Patson Daka. Started off so well. That's the song, isn't it? Started off so well. With 4 goals against Moscow. But then Musa started off very well with 2 brilliant goals against Barcelona. Maybe we should just rent players for 1 game. Maybe that's where we're going wrong, Wayne.
Well, even in the Championship, he only got 7 goals. Well, he got 7 goals in 20 games, but even the quality in the Championship is really poor. You should be getting 15 goals if you're a decent striker that's going to hope to cut it in the Premier League.
Yeah. He didn't do it. Oh, excuse me. We'll round it up now, but he didn't do it last time in the Championship, and I don't believe he's going to do it this time in the Championship. But unfortunately, we are stuck with him. When does his contract expire? Oh, next summer. So he's only got a year left.
Right. Yay.
I
know a few weeks ago there was 10 players where the contract was expiring in the summer, wasn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can find it actually, but honestly, if we sell Daka, I'll actually do one of these.
Everyone's excited. Yeah! Get in, Cody's gone.
Hallelujah.
I love that. I love that. That is never getting deleted.
And that was the start. That was the start of all this sales, and
Yes.
having had a few years where we thought we can't get rid of anybody. They're all going to be on the contracts down. Brilliant so far.
Indeed. Mate, thank you so very, very much. I know you've been up since 5, like you say, and it's now 11:20. Normally we wouldn't do anything this late, but I say we wouldn't normally do anything this late. Let me just very quickly, if you don't mind, Wayne, I'm just going to very, very quickly, if I can find it, bring this up, because you saw it earlier. Tuesday at 10 o'clock, join Tom for the Football Manager career mode. As you can see there, we get demoted to League, not relegated, demoted to League 2 because of PSR. Top's not very happy, as you can see. We appoint Thomas Smith as our new manager, and very much John Rudkin is happy. And Susan Whelan, well, she just loves him. She just loves him. Can he get us back to where we were before? Starts on Tuesday. He'll be picking his teams and his squad. Join us with your ideas and what have you. 10 o'clock on Twitch and also on YouTube as well. That is going to be very, very interesting.
Very interesting. And Tom's got his guns out, hasn't he?
He has. Look, I really do appreciate all your help and support, Wayne. You know that. Thank you. You're a lovely man. I don't deserve you, but thank you very much for sticking with me.
Good.
See you tomorrow. I mean, it's only going to be 24 hours before we're talking again.
Well, less than 24 hours, isn't it?
Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, hopefully. Oh, it can't go to penalties.
We'll have a victory tomorrow, and we'll have one signing, Chris.
I hope so. I bloody well hope so. Blue Fox, remember to hit the like button and help the show. Thank you very much, Blue. Really do appreciate it. Smash the likes, as he says. Subscribe if you're new. And click the notification bell, even if you're watching on Catch Up. And if you're listening on your favourite podcast platform, which I will be uploading these in the morning, or maybe middle of the day, depending what time I get up, you can listen to all of these on your favourite podcast platform. Wayne, you get off to bed, sir. You deserve a sleep. Everybody else, thanks very much. I'll see you tomorrow, 7:30, Leicester City versus Birmingham City. I'm going to say I'm a little bit worried. Good night, everybody. Good night, Wayne. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.